But I could sit here and talk about the football team all day. But let's go in and let's talk about the playoff picture coming up for the NFL, because the playoffs are set. We're going to start with Saturday's lineup. This upcoming Saturday, the games that we have are some good games. To start it off, we have the Seattle Seahawks against the Los Angeles Rams. It's going to be a good game. Is Jared Goff going to be back for that game? We don't know. His backup won the game. But I like Russell Wilson either way, no matter who plays. Him and DK, I like it.
I think the only way that the Rams can win that game is if they come out and cause a lot of turnovers, at least 2, maybe 3, because they're just going to need to rely on their defense so much. Aaron Donald's going to have a day. But Jared Goff's been struggling either way. I don't even know if you definitely want him to start just from a continuity 100%. Standpoint and just because of his upside. But the Rams are in trouble offensively. I got the Seahawks. I think Russell Wilson gets into a groove and just does what he does and gets in a rhythm with Metcalf, hopefully. I don't know.
If they have a little smidgen of a running game, it's a wrap. If they can run the ball a little bit, Russ has got in the play action, the deep ball to DK Metcalf. I also have the Seahawks. The Seahawks are -4.5 in this game is what Vegas has them set at. I think that's fair. I'd take Seattle to cover the spread and win by about 6.
It's tough with Aaron Donald chasing you down, but I think Russ cooks.
Exactly. I agree with you. Our next game is near and dear to my heart. We've got my Washington football team versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think the football team keeps it close.
2 very different off-season storylines. On one end, you have the greatest football player of all time leaving the organization that he's been at for 20 years to go give it a try in Tampa. And now here he is in the playoffs. It's
as a wild card.
Now we'll find out, was it Brady, was it Belichick, whatever. He's got a shot to prove everybody wrong and say, look, but if he wins a Super Bowl, then it's not, if you even were thinking about debating whether or not he was the GOAT, then you're delusional. All right?
I agree.
2 different franchises, 7 rings. It's here. It's time. And on the other end, you've got the Washington football team, who had a naming, I don't want to say scandal, but controversy over the offseason. Currently just doesn't have a team name.
We might as well be called the Washington scandal at this point. That might as well be our team name.
Sexual harassment allegations as well in the offseason. The quarterback that you drafted first round just flames out, gets cut. Ron Rivera gets cancer.
Beats cancer.
And it beats cancer. Alex Smith comes back. And now there they are right next to Tampa Tom. It's full circle, man. I would love to make the ballsy prediction here, because the football team, that's a story I think anybody can get behind. But did you see Tom Brady last week?
He looked good.
He looked good. He looked like Tom Brady.
He looked like that he got in the time machine that I've been wanting Ben Roethlisberger to get in, and he went back in time 3 or 4 years.
He's actually got one. He bought it. He gets out of his house. It's at Derek Jeter's mansion in Tampa.
Exactly. Which is insane that 2 great athletes have lived in one place. Just Derek Jeter's mansion is now Tom Brady's mansion. That's
insane.
Storybook stuff. Yeah.
But they've pooped on the same toilets. That's crazy.
Oh my God, I never even thought of it like that.
Those are some legendary toilets in there.
Yeah, Derek Jeter and Tom Brady have pooped in the same toilet. I think that toilet needs to be in, like, they need to clone it, and one of his toilets need to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and the other toilet needs to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I mean, they probably have like 15 of them in there, I would think.
I would assume so. That way you don't have to use the same toilet every day.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be bold here, because I said I'm not going to pick against the Washington football team the rest of the year, and I'm really not. Even if I wasn't, here you go. Hear me out. Tom Brady is a walking statue back there, and we have one of the best front fours in football right now. Chase Young and Montez Sweat have been playing like absolute animals. Dude, you just went into like a silhouette, like they're trying to hide your identity. There you go. You're back. It was literally like you're trying to hide your identity in an investigation discovery piece, and you were going to talk in a voice synthesizer thing. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I'm dark tonight. I moved my my lamp over to my apartment. I don't have any exterior lighting.
Oh, you're good. But anyway, we got
in the shadows.
We got one of the best front fours in football. Cole Holcomb is playing out of his mind. Our secondary, Cameron Curl, who's a rookie, 7th-round draft pick, is balling. Kendall Fuller is playing amazing this year on the outside. And I think our defense could hold Tampa Bay. The only thing that's going to hold us back is our offense. Can Alex Smith get the quick releases? I think Tampa is going to blitz a lot because that's what the Eagles did, and Alex Smith is about as mobile as Tom Brady right now with that calf injury. But I think our defense, if they can get a couple turnovers, it's a wrap. I think we could potentially sack Tom Brady 6 times.
It's greatest comeback story of all time versus greatest of all time. I love this one, man. And you mentioned Tom Brady getting sacked 6 times. It's kind of reminiscent of when the Giants knocked him off in the Super Bowl. That's the way to get to Tom Brady. You got to hit him a lot. And the Redskins are equipped to do it and be in the NFC East. I'm not doing it, though. I got the Bucs.
Fair respect. The line is 7.5 points.
That's respectable. They're giving them respect.
They're
giving the football team respect.
Anyway. I think Washington loses by 3 to 5.
Okay.
I think a 2-point conversion doesn't go their way early if they do lose. But
so you're not actually sticking with your promise to pick the football team every game.
No, I am sticking with it. I said they're going to win. If I'm betting the money line, I am taking Washington.
You're betting the money line. Okay. All right, I got you.
I'm betting the money line. I'm saying on the spread. I'm also picking Washington to beat the spread, but it's 7.5 points.
Yeah, that's a different conversation. I got you.
Our other Saturday game is the Buffalo Bills and the Indianapolis Colts. Your Indianapolis Colts versus who I believe is maybe right now probably the second hottest team because the Packers have absolutely caught fire. But the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen putting up a dark horse MVP season right now. I think it's hard to not pick the Buffalo Bills.
The Colts added some really nice players this year. They had a great draft. I love what Phillip Rivers has given them. It hasn't been perfect all year, but when you consider his age and just making the playoffs, they've done what they had to do to get into this position, and props to Chris Ballard and Frank Reich. But they're just running into a buzzsaw this week against the Bills. They've been absolutely dominant the last few weeks. Josh Allen is playing with moxie and confidence, and he's got a cannon for a right arm.
Oh, 100%. Dude, the only guys that rival him are Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes.
He's got a Big Ben build. He can scamper around, and he can chuck it. He's got one of the best deep threats in the league in Stephon Diggs, and a great defense behind him. They've just been unstoppable recently.
I agree. I'm going to take the Bills, and the line is set at Bills minus 6.5, and I think that's an easy cover for Buffalo. I think Buffalo wins by about 10 to 12 and takes the Colts, and then they go in to the next game, which would be against one of these teams. We got the Tennessee Titans and the Baltimore Ravens.
This is an intriguing matchup. Baltimore's going to want some payback after that game last year in the playoffs. Tennessee hasn't been playing great on defense recently, though. Took
Derrick Henry
a last-second field goal to beat
that.
Houston, but Derrick Henry, dominant, 2,000-yard rusher. I don't know in this one. I think I'm going to go with the Ravens just because the Titans' defense is not playing very well.
I can see that. I'm going to take Tennessee because they have had Baltimore's number previously, and I think Derrick Henry is not going to win the MVP, but I think he should. And I think he is going to run all over the Baltimore Ravens.
Do you think that is Lamar Jackson going to be able to get that playoff monkey off his back? He's been a little jumpy in the playoffs.
I hope he does because I really like Lamar Jackson as a player. I think he's great. I think he's going to be fantastic in the NFL as long as he can stay healthy, just like any other guy. I don't think he gets the monkey off his back this year. I liked their matchup a lot better if they would have ended up playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. But again, in this matchup, I like the Titans.
Is there any excuse for getting like playoff nerves and choking in the moment this season, given that there's at least drastically less fans?
I think it's still the playoffs, so you've got to understand that guys are going to be nervous. But playoff nerves for me go away after your first playoff start.
I think so too. It's really never an excuse.
First time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's never really like a legitimate excuse. I'm just saying that this year I think it's even less of an excuse.
I would 100% agree because you don't have the fan atmosphere. Like normally, but when Baltimore is going to go to Tennessee, and that place can be a madhouse. Like, people in Nashville love their Titans. But you've got no fans. So it doesn't give as much pressure, but it's still pressure because you're going to be on TV. You're playing for the next game. So there's still pressure, but not as much. So I will agree with you, but I am taking the Tennessee Titans. Our next game, interdivision rival rematch from last week, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns.
I love everything about it. Cleveland Browns fans, want nothing more than to dethrone a team that they've
Yeah.
never beaten at Heinz Field ever. The Browns have never won at Heinz Field. I don't think it's going to happen, though. It took 24-22 to beat them without Big Ben. I think he comes off a week of rest, and for just 1 week, I think he's the Big Ben of old. I think he plays great, hits Juju for at least 2, Claypool for at least 1.
I like your pick. I said earlier in the year, or on this podcast as well to other people, that the Pittsburgh Steelers were not going to win a playoff game. That was when I thought they were going to play the Ravens or the Colts. I think they beat the Browns. I just think the Steelers are going to have the Browns number for a long time. You said that the Browns have not beaten the Steelers at Heinz Field. Well, Ben Roethlisberger, up until recently, had the most wins all time for a quarterback in the Brown Stadium. It's a real stat.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, and they play them twice a year and once a year at home.
That is incredibly embarrassing. That's terrible.
Yeah. I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. The line is 3.5. I think it's a bigger difference than that. I think it's about a 7-8 point win by the Steelers from up there in Pittsburgh. Going up now, we've got one more game to talk about, and we have the New Orleans Saints and the Chicago Bears.
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 Expect a lot of defense early in this game. I think that the Saints are going to utilize Alvin Kamara on the outside heavily, try to get him going in the pass game. Breeze doesn't need to be great to win this one, but he needs to be solid. They need to hit a couple plays down the field, but for the most part, just taking care of the ball and playing great defense, which they usually do, will get it done. I have the Saints by 14.
I like the Saints too. I've got the Saints by 12, a little bit less than you. I definitely prices righted you right there. No shame in it. No shame in it. I think the Bears are a good team. I like Mitch Trubisky. I also like Nick Foles. I'm glad they're rolling with Trubisky. But Alvin Kamara, dog. Drew Brees, dog.
Oh, yeah.
Marshawn Lattimore, dog. Cam Jordan, dog. They just got more dogs all over. The dogs are going to win.
I heard this from an inebriated person at the bar last night. Alvin Kamara is the best running back in the NFL. Okay.
Right now in the league, or when everybody is healthy?
No, right now in the league.
Right now it's Derrick Henry.
But okay, that just prompts me to wonder, where would you put Alvin Kamara? And does he get the respect he deserves?
I think
he is a factor.
As the pure running back, because he is a pass catching back. He is like Christian McCaffrey and a pass catcher / runner. Because Alvin Kamara can run the rock. He is just so much more lethal in the pass game, coming out of the backfield, getting that matchup on a linebacker or a slower safety, because you ultimately have to put a corner on him to be able to keep up with him. But he's so strong. I think he's a top 5 back. When everybody's healthy, my running back dynamic goes a little bit like this. I've got Christian McCaffrey as the number 1 back. I think he can do it all. He's just as good of a pass catcher as Alvin Kamara, but can run like the other guys. I got Saquon Barkley at 2. I got Derrick Henry 3.
We've argued about this before. I don't know. How do you have Derrick Henry 3? That's insane. He just balls out. He just shows up every year.
If you're a running back, it's Derrick Henry. But when you got to influence the passing game, which is what the NFL has come to a lot, he is not a great pass catcher. He is 100%.
For me, I don't care. Just because of the sheer physical specimen he is, that's all I care about.
And I understand that's why I have him at 3. I think Saquon is just as much of a physical specimen, and he can catch out of the backfield better than Derrick Henry.
I don't care.
I've got Kamara and then Zeke. I'm not a huge believer in Zeke. I was before the year started, but this year I am not as big of a believer. But he's a top 5 back.
The proof is in the pudding. Derrick Henry is great. I think he's the best in the game.
MVP this season.
I want to see it. I want Rodgers to get it. I think Rodgers deserves it.
I'm okay with Aaron Rodgers winning it. I'm fine with that. It's just the MVP has kind of become like the Heisman for me. Whoever the best quarterback is going to win it.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So, and talking about